you doing?
Not too bad. It's a pretty chilly morning here in California.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty chilly all the way over here as well.
You're in Europe, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You get to have the good Dota server.
Define good. No, I'm kidding.
Better
Uh,
than NA.
fair enough. Uh, that's a low bar, low bar. But yeah, man. So what's up? I was looking a bit at your description. The intake questions. What's going on? Why are you here?
So I just got back from deployment in August, and like Dota has become my muse again. I've played off and on, since like 2013. Like my dad gave me like an open beta key or something like that. And I was pretty serious into the game. I got to around 5,000 MMR, maybe around 2014, 2015. Then I quit playing and started exclusively playing Counter-Strike. I logged like 12,000 hours in that game. And now I'm back to Dota. I have a lot of time off with my schedule now, and I'm trying to become a good player again.
Cool. How long have you been back playing? Since you got back
Since
from
August.
deployment? Okay. I was curious if it was that whole time. Okay. Cool. And it looks like you play carry, and in your intake questions, I believe yeah, it says watch a recent demo, get advice, and apply it in a live match. I was curious what exactly your goal for today's session was. Were you wanting to have me watch you play a live game, or did I misread that?
You're the professional, so I was just kind of putting basis out there. Whatever is good to work if it's just strictly from demo reviews or if you want to see the mistakes happen in action. I'm not sure exactly the best method, so I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
go
I
off.
think, for me, generally, I like to spend at least the first session, only doing replays, because I need to get to know you, what you're doing, differently than expected, and then give you some guidance. And if you were to come back and, um, you feel like, maybe something I said isn't quite landing, in terms of applying it, I'm open minded about what else to do, like trying a live match, but.
Okay.
For now, I usually would stick to the replays or demos for the first one, if that works for you.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay.
Okay, cool, man. Do you have any game IDs for me to start with?
Yeah, I'm launching the game to grab one right now.
Sure.
So I've actually gained quite a bit of MMR since I ordered the coaching. It's kind of
Okay.
a good win streak.
What are you at right now?
Uh, I just hit Ancient 1 like this morning.
Is that like 38 or what is that?
It is I'm at 3864.
Okay. Yeah,
I think
that's
I
a lot.
was
You put
like
33 when you signed
30.
up.
Yeah, so I've gained like 500 MMR since then.
Yeah, that's a lot. What would you attribute that to?
I've been watching like your videos on YouTube, Balloon Dota's videos, just watching tournaments, watching like high rank immortal games, just kind of getting used to the meta and spamming TA.
Hmm. Do you generally play from a small pool of heroes, or do you have, like you said, just a few, maybe like Tia?
Right now, my like four go-to heroes, I just kind of base it off of their first two picks is Ursa, Lifestealer, Anti-mage, TA.
Okay.
I feel strong with these heroes.
Okay.
Here's a demo.
Can you see my screen on Discord?
Sure can.
Cool.
So this was actually my like rank up game to Ancient.
Okay. Do you feel like this is, I mean, it looks like you played pretty well in regards to overall good score. Do you feel like if I see a mistake in this game, you probably make the mistake pretty often? Would you say your mistakes feel consistent, inconsistent? How would you define your own play?
I got bullied hard in lane. Like my CS was terrible. The Mars was doing a great job with the creep aggro. He felt like he had the complete lane dominance over me, and I just had to kind of fight early. Like it was a rough early game for me, and somehow we just opened up the game with a couple of key fights. So it felt strong, but I don't know why it was so strong, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Ignore me. It looks like you know how to use defensive aggro, but it looks like you mess it up maybe like half the time. Would that be
Yeah,
accurate?
sometimes I don't get all the way into the 500 range. I'm like so worried about getting harassed, I guess, with melee heroes.
Hmm.
It just felt like a really tough lane.
I guess my question about all the problems you're facing, what do boots do for you?
Um, I think I just buy whatever item shows up first that I queue up at the beginning of the game. I
Hmm.
wasn't actively making a decision. Like maybe I could have had more damage for the creeps, but
How
uh,
how do you just like do you generally just like follow item guides and just like buy the items in the order that they come? Like how do you generally operate with that?
so I kind of like okay, I'm gonna get my boots, I'm gonna get my farming item, and then I'm gonna try to be efficient and get my like survivability item. And after I get that, my goal is kind of just to farm closer to the team so I can join good fights if they get into one. Beyond like that optimization, um, beyond the survivability item, like say if they have like a PA, then I'll look towards like a Monkey King bar, or if they have a Weaver, it might need an Orchid or something like that. It's just
Hmm.
I,
So there's
I
like
start with the
there's a
baseline.
little bit of variance at the beginning and the or towards the end, but not much at the beginning, is what you're saying.
Right.
Hmm.
Like I don't
Okay.
know when to buy Wraith Bands, like because I know it slows down your Battle Fury timing, or like for TA, if you bought a Wraith Band, it'd slow down your Deso timing.
Okay, so I think, items are a very complicated part of Dota, and I've had um really wide ranges of people in regards to how much they think about their itemization. Some people are too rigid, some people try to do too much and it actually hurts them. Um and so the biggest thing I try to do with people who are trying to do too much is I try to simplify it for them. For people who I think are too rigid, which I think is you, at least in the first laning stage, then I try to give them a decision they weren't previously making. Because I do need you guys to basically start thinking about things that I at least I think you're not thinking about based on what you're telling me. So I always think a really good introduction to that is to consciously tell me which component of treads you should buy first, because they're all about the same cost. You know, it's 450 for the other two and it's 500 for boots. All three do very different things. The Band of Elven Skin gives you 6 damage and 1 armor and 6 attack speed, but most notably it gives you 6 damage and 1 armor because the Glove of Haste gives you attack speed. The Glove of Haste specifically gives you attack speed, and the boots give you movement speed. So these are 3 things that, you know, I think if we break it down to any Dota player, they'd be like, yeah, those are 3 very different things. And so, you know, when I think about heroes that benefit from movement speed, you know, we ask ourselves, like, what is scale of 1 to 10? How much does Anti-mage care about movement speed in most matchups?
Very little. He has a blink, so
Yeah, very little because of his innate movement, mobility, right? But you compare that to like Ursa or Lifestealer, and you might change your mind a lot about how much these heroes care about. You know, Ursa has his Q, but still, like, he would much prefer. He's much more reliant on movement speed. And TA, it kind of depends. Like, if you're playing around Meld or more so playing around Refraction, overall, the point is that boots, the movement speed benefit from boots widely varies from hero to hero, from matchup to matchup. You know, a lot of times if I'm considering, am I trading with people or going for CS at the same time as them? If the answer is yes, then I usually go for the Band of Elvenskin first, because that gives me 6 extra damage to compete for CS, and it also gives me that armor when they're attacking me. And if I feel like defensive aggroing and then hitting is the best way for me to get CS, then sometimes the Glove of Haste can be the best item to go first. The point is that the way I coach, I don't know how much of my coaching sessions you watch. You did say you watch my videos. My goal for you is to make decisions you're not used to making, and I think that you are too rigid on items based on what you told me you do. So how does that sound as like a good baseline for a decision to make in your lane? Which the goal would be, if you don't come back for another session, that you would at least be able to tell yourself, I consciously chose boots, I consciously chose Band of Elvenskin, I consciously chose Glove of Haste, because this is the reason I think it mattered the most in this matchup on this hero. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does.
Okay.
I think I was taking a more general approach. Like, okay, they have a potentially active mid. If I have my wand and boots, I can survive a gank. But
That doesn't
it's
exactly
like,
apply at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right?
it's true.
I think that there's a lot of depth to decision making in Dota, right? And I think that the power of items is being incredibly present in what is happening in your game right this moment and what you need right now. And I think that that skill is very hard to hone later on in the game, and it's very good to work on in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, because this like small variance of like, oh, I'm in a matchup that trades a shit ton level 1. That means I might need the stat pieces of Wraithband and buying it. You know, it actually requires a lot of understanding of how the matchup gets played and what you need to do level 1 and 2 to consider buying Wraithband, because the biggest difference between Wraithband and not buying it is you can buy the components in your starting items and you can fly out the finished Wraithband like 1 creep wave into the game, if you compare that to treads. So it's like an acknowledgement that you need the strength right here, right now to fight them. And that's pivotal in terms of you and how you play out the lane. But that for
For
me
an
is a
example,
what?
oh, I was gonna say for like an example, a matchup I see a lot was Lifestealer. I'll be playing against a Tidehunter,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's better to go for like phase boots in that situation to get more armor and more trading damage, or if I just keep the treads. That's another thing. I just don't know like what makes me make that decision. Like, do I want the treads with more strength and attack speed, or do I want the phase boots with more armor and movement speed? I
Um,
think I just kind of.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And I thought you were done. Sorry.
Oh, like say if they have someone with slows or they're pretty fast, I'll get phase boots so I can chase them down or get away. But like that's the I really don't get which boots to choose on the heroes where it's kind of game based.
For me personally, I prefer phase a lot more on Lifestealer in general. I think that for me, the most common heroes to debate treads versus phase are Jug, Ursa, because they both have skills that benefit from chasing people, and they both have benefits of buying attack speed. So for me, it's kind of a close call for both of these heroes. While for me on Lifestealer, it's almost always phase because he has an ability that innately gives him 70 attack speed as he levels it. And he also has very little damage in general, so giving him that extra 18 damage, or I guess it's 8 damage technically. Um, so like for Lifestealer, for instance, I much prefer the phase because that's what that hero relies on. I don't generally calculate the armor of phase boots anymore. You know, in the past, phase boots gave like 6 armor, and if you're an agility hero going for treads, it's like almost 2 armor to get treads. So yeah, on the strength hero, it's a bit different, but um, I don't generally include the armor as my consideration. What I do include is the fact that for heroes like Tidehunter and Timbersaw, if they get up close to you, they can do 100% of their potential damage. If they are never close to you, like positioning wise, then sometimes you can avoid all of their damage. So move speed matters a lot against Tidehunter, Timbersaw, Slardar, heroes that when they're right in front of your face do a lot of damage and trade well. When they're not on top of you, they don't trade very well because they can't do any damage to you. So these are examples of offlaners where the mobility of phase will effectively mitigate a lot of damage. If you think of a hero like Mars, it's like, yeah, phase boots can be strong for the armor component of mitigating God's Rebuke and stuff, but the point about Mars is that he usually rushes phase boots himself. He can close the gap a bit easier and like posture aggressively, and his spells are longer range. So they're harder to avoid because Mars also has like a bit longer attack range than most melees. These are just small examples. For me, it's, you know, I do think the decision between, I mean, the decision between phase and treads is one that I get questions about a lot. And I've kind of told myself I probably need to make a video just between this because I made an old one, but it's been a while for treads versus phase.
Outdated at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. I mean, I think the knowledge is still there, but I think it's hard for people to see a different patch and be like, doesn't help that much. Um, but the point is that I would be much more concerned that I would rather someone in your position, quite frankly, to go phase boots 100% of games on Lifestealer, to go treads 100% of games on Anti-mage, choose phase boots or treads on Ursa, whatever you prefer, and go them 100% of the games. And I would want you to be able to consciously tell me that, you know, I'm against a matchup where I can't dodge their damage. I'm against Bristleback. So positioning doesn't matter for shit. So if I'm Lifestealer, I'm gonna go the chainmail version or component of the phase boots first because boots don't really do anything if the guy's just quilling me. I'm gonna go boots first if I'm against something like Timbersaw. I'm going to go potentially Blade of Attack first against heroes with comparable damage that I just want to be able to outdamage. Might be something like Underlord, who has pretty high damage. It might be something like, um, you know, maybe like a Pudge has pretty high damage. Primal Beast, Night Stalker. I think you kind of get the idea, though, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would much rather you comfortably be able to tell me. If I'm being honest, I don't think you're ready to truly understand the difference between phase and treads if you're not even consciously deciding what component of treads you're going. I think that that's a smaller decision that will lead up to the grander decision of the boots. So I would rather start there and know that um, if you break down treads and phase boots that way for yourself, you will have a better idea of their buildup. You'll have a better idea of min maxing those items in general. And sometimes when it comes to early game items, it's about their buildup. Like it is just about, oh, I need like the band of Elven Skin is just way better than any component of phase boots. So the treads feel better to build in lane. That's why a lot of carries right now just go treads because it feels nicer to build treads. You know, having just like either a belt of strength or a band of Elven Skin into glove of haste, and you're just trading. Generally feels better than like it feels better to have 6 damage, 6 attack speed, and 1 armor than it does to have 9 damage. You know, because blade of attack is the same price. That's just an example. I think a lot of carries decide that for this reason. Like treads right now generally feel better for that reason. But I've been kind of blabbing. My goal
Yep.
whenever I do coaching is to give people decisions that I feel like they're not currently making that puts them in a step towards the right direction of decisions I think they do need to make. And I personally think if you're playing a lot of Dota, there does need to be conscious thought put into your items. And I'm trying to make it. Does that sound like a good one for you, or would you like a different version of this?
Yeah, I could apply that instantly. It's just I never even knew that was something to consider. I
Yeah.
think it's because I haven't hit my like skill threshold yet, and
Mm.
I'm usually solid in lane. So the first like 1400 gold, 2000 gold, I get pretty easily, like almost every
Mm.
game.
Yeah.
So I'm not even debating that. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna finish my boots in whatever order is convenient, and I could put more thought into that instantaneously, no problem.
Cool. Okay. I mean, I think in general that's how we tend to hit walls. I think it's hard to motivate ourselves to do things we don't have to do. Because we're not challenged there anyways. And for someone like yourself, I think it's more since you're climbing so rapidly, it's more about padding the blow once you eventually hit that wall where your skill currently is at, you know. Because if you're climbing that fast, you're probably more like a mid 4K player or something like that. Especially I know it was a long time ago, but you mentioned you were 5K. So, um, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is if we get this stuff down now, then it'll be less punishing when you eventually run into the problem of players that do this, right? Does that sound good to you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm getting older too. Like I'm 26, so
so old,
I'm
man,
pro-
so fucking
I'm
old.
probably need to be more decision based gameplay than
Hmm.
relying on skill.
Hmm. It's interesting you say that. I'm 33. I don't know if you know that, but I'm
I didn't.
33, and for me, how do I word this? I get the perspective that you shared. Um, I guess my approach has always been if it can be done better, what I need to have a reason not to do it, basically. While it sounds like for you, you feel like you need a reason to do it. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
I'm curious about how maybe it's too deep of a psychological topic. I'm not sure. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that in regards to Dota. Like, what is your motivation to do new things, to learn new things in a game of Dota 2? Out of curiosity.
I'd say my idea, like currently, is it's not my game anymore. Like I used to be so enveloped in it, and uh, there's like a few homework things I'm just lazy to do, and individually, uh, I'm learning a lot of new concepts. Like I used to just AFK farm until I felt
Mm.
strong, and then go GG it, and that hardly ever works nowadays. So I'm making more active decisions on where I'm farming and what's going on in the game, what objectives we can take as a team, like which teammate's hitting a power spike. But then there's like heroes like Kez. I have no idea what he's doing. I just see
Yeah.
him swing a samurai sword and screen wipes the entire map. I'm like, okay, this guy's strong. I'm just not gonna approach him when he's doing that ability. Like, I should probably go demo him and things like that.
Hmm. Interesting. So it sounds like you appreciate like researching the bigger topics, but the little things that could take some time to go out of your way to do, you'll generally skip that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there's benefits to both things. I think having a healthy combination of the two is great, personally. And I guess for me, I think a good entry point is to draw attention to little decisions like these items, and there might be other examples of this later on, because a lot of the problems that get solved over time as Dota players are not highly complex. The majority of my coaching sessions, I'm like, hey man, you have 800 gold. Why aren't you buying items? And this guy's like 300 MMR, or sorry, 3000 MMR. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't care how many CS you have. If you don't spend your gold, then uh, who cares, right? And so for me, it's like, I don't care how many CS you're getting in the first 4 minutes if you're not even telling me what item matters to you to buy. These are the type of stuff where, um, obviously the skill of getting the CS matters a lot, but um, there's a lot of times people will skip the, I wouldn't say the easy decisions, but like the everyday decisions, like a decision that can be applied every single game. They try to focus on usually like situational stuff, matchup based, draft based, adjusting to stimuli. And for me, it's like, I think the most valuable stuff to apply is something that you're guaranteed to do as close to 100% of games as possible. An example is if I'm buying treads on Anti-mage, which is almost, if not all, 100% of games, knowing which component comes first, that's going to matter every single game, which is a cool thought for me. I like to think that whatever I'm learning will be applicable as often as possible. So that's why I prioritize these type of decisions. Um, and I often think that my old self and a lot of players I coach don't prioritize these decisions. Um, so maybe it's not your style. Maybe it doesn't end up working out for you this way, but that's generally how I coach. And I always try to my best to find the middle ground of how I coach and how the person thinks and learns. Um, I was just curious what your thoughts on what I've said.
I'm very receptive to it. It just never even crossed my
Yeah.
mind to have more of an impact in the laning phase with such a small item.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking more broader scale every game rather than
Mm,
like the minuscule. What helps me 30 seconds from now when my courier arrives.
mm.
Yeah, it's never even considered that, so it's definitely a good teaching point.
Yeah, I think it's like a rabbit hole you can go down because, the more precise you get, I think the more high level you go. So if you're planning for 30 seconds from now, great. What about 5 seconds from now? What about 2 seconds from now? Like seeing every little thing as it plays out. What I'm trying to do with this is it's not as important that you nail the component of your treads. It's more that we get you thinking like that. And I think it'll help you. So it sounds like you're receptive. Do you have any questions about that, or am I good to kind of fast forward now?
I do remember, I think I was gonna die or something, so I ended up buying a broadsword first with the Battle Fury,
Hmm.
and I usually always get the cornucopia for sustain and if
Yeah,
you
of
have to
course.
get forced into the jungle. So I think that is coming up in this game, if I remember right. Um,
Is that
but yeah,
like trying
there's
to be like an example of when you vary up your items a bit, or what exactly are you? Um, what
I think
made you
it's
think
just a
about that?
mistake.
Ah, mistake. Okay, interesting. Okay, okay. Yeah, so you have the fights being brought to your lane. Viper's here now. Okay, you're clearing the wave. CSing under tower definitely could use some work. I think a lot of that's over time, unless you have questions. Um,
Yeah, I don't know the exact method. I guess I didn't even buy it.
yeah, it's a different death, maybe. I don't know if you die again. Let's see. So you buy raindrops on Anti-Mage. Interesting. Okay, so you do have a bit of reactionary purchases, which I think is a good sign. I don't particularly love raindrops on anti-mage because I usually only buy raindrops on heroes that they help you farm, where they like use mana to farm, like Slark or Troll or Jug maybe, or yeah,
Yep.
carries that generally use it to farm is the ones I'll usually buy it on. Terrorblade, TA maybe, but TA doesn't really work as a refraction. But the point stands that I don't generally buy raindrops unless it helps me that way. Just a thought. You're getting
Yeah, I
chased
think I was
over.
getting
Good.
nuked by Lich.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I was hurting. Or maybe it was Shadow Demon was there in the fight.
Mm, okay. So before I continue, what is your goal coming out of today? Like when I send you off, what would you like to think coming out of the session? Like, oh, I have two things to work on, or I have a new perspective, or like what the best to your knowledge, what would your goal for today be?
I guess homework, like, what could I be a lot better on? What am I doing good and continue doing? Like,
Hmm.
I I don't know exactly like where I'm at, like what skill level. I feel
Hmm.
like I'm the underdog every game. I've been going with this mindset, like, these guys probably play every day, and I'm getting back into it, and I'm just trying to be a good team player, and
Okay.
I'm just open to all things right now. It's
Yeah.
kind of an interesting situation.
Okay.
Just overall improvement, like if there's something that I should be doing that I'm not, or just knowledge I don't have that I need.
Okay. And you said you're playing about 40 hours a week. Like you have a lot of time
Right.
since you're not being deployed. I guess deployed would be the um. Okay, so
I'm
you
at like
good.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm at like level 57 or something on the event right now.
Oh yeah, okay, you're fiending. Nice. Okay. Okay, so despite a really tough laning phase, your Dawnbreaker is like absolutely destroying, and you're having second net worth. It's really interesting to me that I'm curious how. I feel like if I had a 15-minute battle, 16-minute battle here, I wouldn't be second net worth or 15 minutes. I would not be second net worth. So I'm curious, like, what's going on in this game. Maybe people are just fighting a shit ton, in general. Um, so that's leading to this. Um, so let's see. Looks like you're farming overall. Looks pretty efficient. I'm gonna keep fast forwarding for now. I am struggling a bit to pinpoint how to best help you. So that's kind of why I asked. So bear with me. I'm figuring it out here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Um, hmm. Let me rewind for a sec. I'm gonna fast forward super fast through this. I'm looking at the mini map right now. Okay. Okay. So my issue that you mentioned things that you're not doing, things you are doing. My biggest issue I think I've seen thus far in the past laning phase, maybe like 7 minutes plus, 8 minutes plus, is that I feel like you are glued to your lane. That there's no other lane being considered in terms of your camera as well as where your hero goes. What would your thoughts on that be?
So for like at like a pause right now, I do see that their safe lane tower is gone, and I should be invading the jungle. This feels like a hot contention point for the team. My safe lane tower, like we've had a lot of good fights there. So if I'm staying around there, it seems to be the focal point of the map right now because all the other lanes get pushed, and then Dawnbreaker rotates into the fights. Like in this particular match, I feel like this is the best spot to be to where I could farm, and then the team keeps fighting here, and I feel strong now and want to win the lanes, so quote unquote. And obviously the laning phase is over, but it's more of like a pride thing, like shut the Mars down because he's my opponent. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I hear what you're saying. Um, so my big issue here is that I think it's actually really important for carry players to sometimes scoop up other lanes. It was actually in my 12-minute Battle Fury educational smart video that I did like a week or two ago. I talked about how there's like times where there's like it's really scary to TP back to your own safe lane, and generally considering other lanes at all. So I can say in this case I would have TP'd mid based on what I'm seeing on the map. If everybody's missing, it's much more likely that they're smoke ganking the lane that is being pushed than it is the lane that's just sitting here. It's very unlikely that they're ganking a lane that's just sitting here. And also, if everybody's missing like this, usually the team's first point of contention is going to be the safe lane tower. Like a lot of people will go for this tower first, as your team's already taken it. It's very likely that their smoke is either going to here, because like they're grouped up as like 5 trying to kill your team that's posturing aggressively, or their smoke is here. Like for me, that's the only really feasible places for them to be right now. And I'm just kind of narrating my thoughts. My issue when I'm watching the game is that I don't think I ever saw your camera look at this even like a single time. Um, I feel like every decision that's been made has been. I mean, like I can perhaps be wrong, but like let's watch your camera on like 16x.
Yeah, I just glance at the mini map. I don't click it very too many
Okay, you did
times.
look mid briefly there. And so then there's this moment right here. I'm fast forwarding because I see it at 14, where I would have TP'd mid instead of top. And then I see this moment right here where we get this fight. And you have a TP available. You guys have just killed 3 heroes, and there's like a wave here. And instead of going for the wave, you stay off map, and then where is it? Oh, it's right here actually. It's right here. You guys win another fight, and you never look at mid wave, and it's getting pushed. You're level 13. You're strong, up by 9k, and mid tower is just like dying to CK illusions. And my issue, this one's the most glaring one by far. When the lane's like into your tower, they don't even have a tier 1 tower, so it's not like they can be respawning. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're level 13, this guy's level 10, all of them are dead, and you're jungling over defending this tower, there's like a glaring underlying issue here. Do you see what
Right.
I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm seeing is that you're very efficient when it comes to playing this area. Like you'll push out the wave, you'll farm both these camps when you can. Now they have Battle Fury. Like before Battle Fury, you were like farming this camp or this camp. Now they have Battle Fury, you're rotating between these camps. So I trust that if the overall optimal decision is to be up here, that you'll probably do a pretty good job of what you're supposed to do. And what I'm not seeing is the consideration to go here really at all. I showed it at 1350. I talked about why I would go there. It's not as much for me about exactly why to go there, but I would say that dialing up your awareness meter of times that you can go to other lanes, most notably mid, I think is very common for carries right now to just randomly pop into mid lane for a wave or two. So to add some add some, I would say, like fluidity to the way you're playing the game. Because right now it's kind of just go back to safe lane, farm, whatever happens, play the fight, go back to safe lane, farm. I would like to try to add some fluidity to, or like, okay, there's a lane pushing into my bottom lane or my mid lane, and I see 4 heroes top, or I see the map look like this, and I might go mid instead of top, stuff like this. Does that make sense? What I'm looking for, or
Yeah, it does.
okay,
And like in this instance, okay, my team's gonna be pushing this tower. People are respawning. We might get like another fight that even like snowballs us further. And I will say I have a bad habit of trusting like this farming pattern around my safe lane tower on both sides of the map. Like I feel really strong with it in terms of like gold per minute. And I've recognized that and only try to abuse that if it's like a tough game or they're giving me the space to do that. But I've been getting more active, making more active decisions for like what the team's doing. It's just um it's hard to get the sense of it like immediately when no one communicates what they're doing. It's just kind of reactionary. I feel like half the matches people are just playing reactionary and don't actually have a mindset of what they want to accomplish. And uh, like if there's 20 minutes coming up, nobody's going for a torment, or if it's 3 minutes, 6 minutes, no one on my team goes for a lotus. Just like I've been told these are important things and no one else values them, and it makes it to where I'm the only one taking objectives and stuff. So
I see,
I do sway more towards being a solo player,
I see.
and it's not good, but it seems better than doing things by myself that I can't accomplish.
Yeah, so I think there's a big gap between stuff like Roche and Tormentor and like pushing lanes. I can understand the sentiment of like playing for your own farm and timings, and how like the way your people tend to think has conditioned you in that way. Um, my question is, when you finish a fight like this, like right now, you get these kills. What's going on in your brain?
Like,
Like,
okay, we have the two highest priority towers. Like the top tower doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go grab this farm and see what the team's doing. Try to get my next item. Like kind of reset.
gotcha.
Get ready for the next fight.
Okay.
Is that the wrong mindset to have?
So generally speaking, when people give me these type of answers, the majority of Dota players have correctness to their answers, and I'll usually have to adjust their priorities a bit. So
Okay.
when you end fights, you are thinking about the tower you held, right? That's what's happening. Like you're thinking about like the objective won by the fight. Maybe is that what you're saying? Or did I?
I was saying, like, so my team, it appears their objective is to get this building, and like I don't really value that tower
Okay,
until later
potential
on.
objectives to take. Okay,
Yeah.
and what
So
team? Yep, go ahead.
like optimization wise, like to help everything on the map and myself is to push out mid wave, like you said. I think I had like a hesitation for that because I felt like CK could kill me.
Hmm. Okay,
I felt weak until I wasn't this game.
I see.
This was a pretty interesting game. I didn't know how I was ahead, and then I looked down. I'm like level 23, and they're level 16 or something like that. I'm like, oh, this is kind
Hmm.
of weird. Like I felt like we were playing from behind and fighting so much, and I couldn't ever farm.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's simply an understanding of matchup issue between you and CK here, because, if he has Orchid, I would say you can't do this. But worst case, when he Reality Rift stuns you, you can easily push E and blink away. That's like worst case scenario. And since his entire team's dead and your team's alive, it would be somewhat psychotic for him to do that. And worst case, you'd blink away and then try to defend the tower off like the cooldown of this again. Um, I guess my point is that when you asked, is this wrong of me to be thinking this? Um, when you end, what, I'm just putting in my notes what you currently do. When you end fights, what I want for priority is check lanes and consciously assess like how to fix them or if they need fixing. So like an example is I don't think a team should ever get a tier 1 tower when they're down by 9k with 4 heroes dead. That's what I mean by
Right.
fixing the scenario. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I think about the lanes as a good indicator for which team has map control and strength, because that means that they're pushing lanes, right? And they're out farming and all that kind of stuff. So it's like even if usually what happens in like mid to late game is the game's really close, you guys have like pushed this wave, the enemy's pushed this wave, and mid lane's kind of contested, and then you take a fight, and a lot of times your choice after the fight is to either go take the tower in the lane that you've pushed or to go fix the other two. Like that's generally like the choice. And I'll have a lot of people who will neglect the other two lanes in favor of doing something else. And I think the most important thing to understand is how are the lanes right now and how would I compare that to the state of the game? You know, so maybe, you know, watching this game back, you'd be like, oh shit, we're up by 9k. Like, this
Yeah,
guy shouldn't
I
be
didn't
getting.
realize that.
Yeah,
It felt a lot closer than that.
and that's like a perfectly reasonable reason to not do this. So, but you know, we're talking about the team play and all that kind of stuff. I think always, no matter how solo or not you're playing, like meaning in terms of communication and stuff, I think every player has the responsibility to manage lanes to the best of their capabilities. To be able to recognize, I don't think that should be happening, and I can do something about it or not. I think is a really important question for us to run through our head as a carry player, especially. Because I think a lot of the carry's job is to set up the lanes such that when team fights are won, potential objectives can be taken. So I just put in my notes that when you end fights, I think it's a really important thing that you would be able to consciously assess and tell me almost immediately, what do the lanes look like? What can I do about them? Do they need fixing? That sort of rundown. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
My mindset is uh like right now, and it's probably the wrong one, but if I see an uncontested like triple wave coming in and it's close to where my team is where I can, you know, rotate, then I'm definitely going there and fixing that wave, and because lane farm is a lot of gold. So I'm mostly just I have gold on my mind
I
most
see.
of the time.
I think gold on your mind will get you to about 5k, and then it'll stop working. That's my experience. The stuff that I'm
Well,
trying to teach you will get you past that point.
they
Because,
perpetuate.
yeah, because I think that at some point, like the average skill level of Dota players has obviously gone up over time. And so like for me, I'm at the 11k bracket ish, and I feel like the thing that separates a lot of the players is actually one mindset, meaning like how resilient are they under like really frustrating scenarios. Like there's a lot of players that just like give up in my bracket. There's a lot. Um Surprisingly so. And then the other aspect for carries specifically is fight selection. Like I feel like the best carry players, like I do get like rank 100, 200 carry players in my game sometimes. And what I feel like separates them from like rank 1000 carries is to fight select. Like they will not show up to randomly bad fights. Like it always feels like their impacted fights is high. And I'll see them be like 1-0-0 at minute 25, and then suddenly they're at every team fight with high impact. You know what I mean? So my point is I do feel like to some degree every bracket has like, okay, this is what it takes to get past it. And I think up until 11k, maybe 10k, up until about 10k, it really is all about how you play the map and how you approach the macro portion of the game. And I think for right around 5k is where it starts mattering that you understand how the team functions rather than just your hero. And so I would encourage you to start thinking about this now rather than once it becomes the limiting factor for you, which I'm almost certain it will become. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
And
Uh,
like
uh,
another point I wanted to just put in your airway is that
yeah.
I've been playing like too many games in a row, and I know that I'm not gonna be like the best version of myself because I'm just mentally fatigued at that point.
Hmm.
When I'm fresh and I'm more conscious of everything, like I know I'm really good at fight selection and knowing what the win condition is. Like, am I the win condition? Is my timing the win condition? Like, does this hero outscale mine? Like, and showing up to fights that aren't good, I don't do it, and like I'm pretty good at this already. It's just like this game wasn't applicable to that, I think, because we're just fighting and winning, fighting and winning, fighting and winning.
Do you have a? So I hear you. Do you have another replay that you can show
Yeah,
me from either? It can be a different, drastically different scenario on anti-mage, or just a different hero. Might be good for me. I think a different hero would probably be best, if possible, of the 4 that you mentioned.
yeah. So like my Lifestealer games are like, as soon as I hit level 6, if there's a chance for me to get into an ancient creep and go gank their carry, I've been doing that a lot. Trying to
Yeah,
find a
no,
good
that's
one.
it's a good thing to do. It sounds like you like to build a crisp formula, which I think to some degree is very nice, which will benefit you a lot. Um, I think it
So this
actually. Go ahead.
this match that I'm about to send you, we ultimately lose. I felt strong, but there's 2 heroes I think I have a 0% win rate against right now, and those are Spectre and Void Spirit.
Hmm.
I cannot beat these heroes.
Interesting. Interesting.
Like I think I get a little tilted in this match and maybe smack talk the Spectre, but
I would like to dissect your laning stage a bit here. Maybe it ends up being irrelevant, but I do feel like based on what you told me and then what I watched in the last game, I think you're quite possibly nearing, you might already be there to the point where your laning stage begins to be a problem. Um you're telling me that you haven't really had to think about it too much because you've kind of just been cruising. So let me just see here. You're going to be against Ogre, Silencer, okay. Yeah. Hmm. So I'd say the percentage of games that I go full wand on Lifestealer would be about 5% in the laning phase. It has to be like Bristleback Batrider, something like this, for me to go full wand. I think Lifestealer heavily benefits from boots, like going straight phase. So a lot of
this
times,
actually
go ahead.
this wasn't the game I thought it was. This was a different game.
Okay.
Sorry.
Would you like me to?
I
Would you like to watch that game together instead?
Yeah, I just gotta find it. I have so many matches right now. It's
Sure.
yeah, this game was just a bad team. I forgot about this one. Lifestealer. I guess I can just click the hero and then it'd be easier to find it that way. Um, okay, this is a more like I felt like I could have won this game and didn't, and I think this would be a better learning game.
Is there a portion of the game, since we have about 20 minutes left, is there a portion of the game you'd like to most learn about when you say that?
The mid game, yeah.
Mid game. Okay, so you want to just skip to the mid game then?
Yeah.
Okay. Against yeah, it looks like these games are pretty rough. 80% to lose at minute 15. So what's mid game for you? 15, 20 minutes? 25?
It's like after laning phase and uh like after the first like objectives taken.
Okay. So right around now?
Yeah.
I'm going to narrate my thoughts. So just a lot of pressure mid. Looks like the game's really rough. Team's taking a fight. Getting ran up by Razor. Have to rage TP. I do think we can be more prepared to rage TP in a game like this, so I'd probably would have TP'd bottom rather than TPing base. We're going to use our ult to get a nice kill there. That's great. Go back to Ancients. Relieved a little bit of pressure there. Team is getting ran at top. I'd probably be working my way bottom with my farming. Never mind, I see Razor. Meaning, like, after I finish these camps, I would have gone bottom. Okay, yep, you did that anyway because you see them. Like, this is a perfect example where you have the conscious choice to push out this lane one more wave or to join this fight, and you join the fight. I probably would have stuck for the wave, but let's see how it plays out. Yeah, so I guess my overall thoughts here is that you're in a pretty rough Lifestealer game. You're down 12 to 4 in kills, like things you can see during the game. You're 500 gold off Relic, so you're kind of like you have. I think that's like half your net worth is just
Yeah.
not doing anything. And so I think as carry player, it's a tough decision to make. My decision here would literally be guided by, do I have creeps to farm or not? If I do, then I will not go to a fight in this type of situation. If I don't, then I will go to the fight. So for instance, there's a 4-on-4 going on mid and Razor's down here. Then I would have done what you did. But in this case, we've seen all of them mid, so we know that there's 5 people there. I would be like, oh, yes, like farm this, farm this, farm this. Like that's how I would interpret this situation. So I guess a good question for you to ask yourself is when a fight breaks out. This is like especially mid-game, more so than any time else. When a fight breaks out mid-game, how much farm do you have access to? And how does that compare to your timings? I'll just type this message that I've been concocting here. So the last question here is, when a fight breaks out, how much farm do you have access to, and how much does that compare to your timings? So for me, like, there's like always this quick calculation that happens in my head when I see a fight, and it's like, okay, how much access to farm do I have, and how many gold do I need to, like, before there's like a relevant power spike. So in this case, I have clear access to farm, and 500 gold's a pretty big deal to get to
because it's always really hard to hit that overcome that hill of getting the Sacred Relic in really hard games when you're a Radiant Spire. So I would weigh that against each other, and then I would go bottom. Does that kind of make sense how I think about that in my head?
Yes, it does.
How does that compare to what you're thinking?
So my thoughts here was that this is like they're under our base, and this is a fight that like I should take. I felt like I should take. They're behind our towers, and it looked a lot better. Like at the point I went in than the point where I died. I didn't realize how strong the Juggernaut was, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think it's largely about how weak you are as well. You know, I can tell you from a Lifestealer player that having no radiance past like 15 minutes feels really bad in terms of my strength in the game. Like, unless like I like if it's pre 15 minutes, then even if I don't have my radiance yet, I can maybe do something. But somewhere around like 14, 15, if I don't have radiance yet, I've made this mistake, I guess I could say, of showing up to fights and thinking I'm impactful. And maybe that's just a working on hero understanding sort of deal. So
This was a bad death, yeah.
it's interesting that this. It seems like you really try hard to make sure you use your ultimate in order to participate in fights. So I actually like that a lot. Like, I like that you are looking for ability-based timings very critically to participate. It seems like kind of your condition for fighting. I think it might be a tad oversimplified, meaning like there's more to it than that, but I do see that you're consciously using that and you're using it pretty effectively when you do it. So you're going to go here. Okay.
Another thing is I don't know when, like, obviously it's a tough game. Like, when do I not show up to them hitting our tier 3 tower? Like, do I just keep maximizing farm and see if we eventually win a fight? Or like, this decision is a little beyond me. I don't know like the numbers behind it. Like, if we lose this tower, do we lose the game? Or
So on a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 9.5 kind of game in terms of like it feels real bad
yeah,
when I'm watching, and I know how it feels to be in this situation. And I would argue that I understand your question about the tower and everything, but I think the most important thing at all times is how much farm do you have access to, and if they're overly grouped like this, I would consider like infesting a creep wave, for instance, just to push it. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, oh, I want to force somebody on their team bottom. I'm just going to push out the wave real quick. Like, I see what they're doing right now as inefficient of 5 heroes, and I want to spend as much of my time getting items as I possibly can. And I would have extended that exact philosophy to the 15-minute fight as well. And maybe even that 17-minute fight you took that ended up kind of working. I feel like your default is when the game looks rough. Like, this is obviously off of one sample size. But when the game looks rough, you just go to the fights. That seems to be what's happened so far. And I would lean towards the nuance of how much access to farm do I have, and trying to hit my timings faster by virtue of the opponent running around as 5 like this, especially on a hero like Lifestealer before Radiance and stuff, because you're kind of just useless, to be honest. And so rather than thinking about the importance of this tower, I would rather you tell me how impactful you think you are and how much farm you have access to on the map, because that's going to be a more accurate gauge for me of whether or not you should go to this fight. Because I've won games more often where I acknowledge those factors, don't go to these fights, lose a lane of racks at like 20 minutes, and we end up winning the game. You know, because I farmed up a storm and won that way. it's not as much about how important are those objectives. It's how much access to farm do you have and how strong are you? Because if you have no access to farm, then you might just have to go anyway. That's one thing. Like, there's no better choice anyways. So that's kind of factoring in what's the other choice than fighting. That's important. I think it's important to kind of know, like, how much am I getting out of this while the fight's happening? And then the how strong am I is like, then you're gauging how much impact do I think I'll have in this fight. And if we're creating this basically theoretical pros and cons list, which is how strong am I in the fight versus how much am I getting by not fighting, I think that gives us a much better gauge of how to go to these fights or not. And I think it'll help you if we shift your focus to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like I'm a wet noodle at this point.
Yeah. So this
I felt like our best team fight was when I had my ult up and like a warlock ult or something like this. But
have access to versus how strong are you in fights. This will help you weigh the decision to go or not. So for me, that's the most important part. And the fact is, there's a lot of times where people will overly 5-man and they'll let you just farm this, farm this, farm this. Like, you're getting super farmed during this time, and towers are kind of hard to take. And so even though they won the fight and they have Jakiro Jug, it's still taking them a little while to get the tier 3, and your team like respawns in time and defends. I've been surprised time and time again of how well my team can defend tier 3 or like racks, even when we're losing pretty badly. So, yeah, in general, you're going to work your way back out on the map. You're going
I think
to...
I was full tilt at this point.
Okay. You're like running this guy down. Okay. I see. Okay. So there's like a very simple farming tip I need to give you. That you just don't utilize. I could describe it to you, but I think it's better to just show you really quickly. It's quite simple. So when you have Radiance, there's a lot of double camps on the map, and I notice you're not doing this at all. So I saw about 4 instances where you could have done it and you didn't do it. So when you have Radiance, it's all about, you know, how many creeps are you burning with the Radiance. That decides your farming speed. You know, how many creeps am I doing 60 damage per second to? So if we just level up. So, you know, in your game,
I know about this. Yeah, I wasn't using it.
Okay, yeah. If you know about it, then I don't have to show it. But yeah, I mean, since I'm already here and I've done this, you know, you were farming this lane down here. And I would want you to do this.
Yeah, if I play it like Alchemist, I'm overly doing this towards like crazy efficiency.
Okay. Yeah, so I noticed you had like the opportunity over here as well when I watched, you know, you were walking from base and you just hit this camp rather than like doing this. You know,
yeah, that's a
walking
good
past.
point.
So it seems small, and I know you said you do it, so, and then you were probably tilted in the last game. But for me, this is like so beyond autopilot, I could literally be having the flu, drunk, and I would do that. You know what I mean? So I do think stuff like that could be, that can be autopilot regardless of frustration tilt, because I understand how that works. And I would want that to be autopilot for you. So just, I guess, you know, you already know it, so quick reminder to farm double camps with Radiance, like on Alchemist. So, you know, we have about 10 more minutes. Do you have one more game of like mid-game fight selection we could maybe see? Because this one was really bad. I would like to kind of see, meaning like how the state of the game was. If there's a game where, you know, I look at these graphs and instead of being at like 20% to win right here, it's more like 35%. You know what I mean? Like it's somewhere around, like it's hard, but it's not this hard. I think it'd be good to see what your decisions look like there.
Okay.
If you want to skim
check.
through your games real quick, find one where it's about right here. I think that'd be useful.
This was a stomp. Yeah, 60%. That's a stomp. Oh, my Discord's like bugging out. My Dota, it's back. Graphs. Oh, we way ahead this game, and it's hard to find this situation.
All good. We can work with
I'm trying
something
my
else.
best here.
Yeah, it's all good. You can't fix your games or whatever. It's not like you can change these games.
We have this kind of goes from a 50% to a 85%. That's another stomp game.
I mean, I think any game that around 15, 20 minutes you are approximately even would be good to see for now. Like, we can lower the threshold of what we need to see.
Okay.
Basically, any game that's not this far one direction or the other. I think by 15 minutes, I would like to see what you're doing.
This was this game hurt right here.
Out of curiosity, you know, you said you're playing a lot of Dota. Are you much of a routine person? Or like what's like a day look like for you when you don't have work and stuff?
I don't set an alarm. I'm like, I eat until I'm hungry. Just
sounds like me when I was 26. Gotcha. Yeah, I found for myself, at least being consistent about the time of day I play Dota is really helpful. So it's just worth considering for you. Maybe you're already somewhat consistent, but for me that helped a lot as like a small consideration for level-headedness, consistency and stuff like that. It might be worth considering for you. I know that maybe it makes it more of a chore, but to say like, hey, I'm playing 40 hours a week, I'll play, you know, Monday through Friday or whatever, 12 to 8. Just this is all hypothetical, but I just think it's worth considering is what I'm trying to say.
I definitely played too many 2, 3 in the morning games.
And
end up playing against like Russian Smurfs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I guess this may be projection, but this is what I wish somebody had told me. So it's not necessarily because I think you need it. It's more like I wish I had been told that based on how my life has turned out. So I would have rather. That's why I'm sharing it. So I am skipping the lane because you're up by 5K. Interesting. Oh, the game looks really close. Okay, so now we're gonna see so you were winning by 5K, but that's still only a 57% chance. And you were saying you struggle against Spectre. They also have Earthshaker, so they have a lot of very good counter initiation heroes, right? That's what these heroes are. Like they can punish people who are alone. They can punish people who go in too deep and chase you out. So, interestingly enough, I mean, I'm going to rewind here because I think I did fall into a good circumstance in the game. I think the most powerful thing a hero can do in this game is walk around the map and be unkillable. Be based on these heroes because they have a lot of gank threat. You know what I mean? They have Earthshaker, Pudge, Spectre, even Hoodwink. So like for me, yeah, they have a lot. And so the way I would have approached this game in order to further our game plan would have been knowing, okay, Tinker's going to play by himself on the map. if I can just walk in front of my team with survivability items and just invade areas to farm them, that's how we're going to win this game. That's how I would think about this game. So, like, in this case, I'm only invading when I have my power spikes, which DK, I don't know how much it doesn't look like you play him too much. He's like a creep outside of his ult. So, like, in this case, I would have just left. I'm just out of here. I would have already been out of here before my ult ended. I would have said, my ult's down in 5, back up. That's like what I would have done here. And I would just farm backwards, kill this camp, kill this camp. My ult's going to come up around the time I'm maybe like right here. Maybe I stack this camp at the 15-minute mark. I pop my ulti again for farm. And I don't go blink here. I would go BKB. Because I just want to walk around the map unkillable. If that makes sense. Rather than feeling like we need to go kill people. Because against lineups like this, they don't farm very fast. We can just out-farm them and gain this like massive lead where their kill threat doesn't actually represent kill threat anymore. So like this whole ordeal of sticking around, pressuring the tower, running in with no DK form, these are the type of things that I would be concerned about in your gameplay. And so you're going to respawn. This might be lack of familiarity with DK, perhaps. Could be feeling pressured. Maybe that's... If I'm seeing you do this, that's why you're probably losing to Spectre, because she does punish this shit a lot. Really hard, actually. Out of all the heroes in the game, she might be the, like, Spearbreaker Spectre. Probably punish this shit the most. So you're going to go into Roche. Here... Things. Okay. Yeah, so I look at your team and think, I know we have no stuns, but we also have no saves. And we have like a Tinker who's going to be playing alone. And yeah, okay, if I got Aegis, I would probably go Blink. Like you did. I got Aegis. And what's really interesting to me is that I know you're DK, but if I get kills like this and I have ult going, I'm going to TP bottom here. And I'm going to like get 2,000 gold during this Aegis. Like that's what I'm thinking about during this Aegis. Like all I'm thinking about for you is extending your lead by farming. Like that's just what your lineup screams to me that it's going to do. And I feel like you might be underestimating the power of a carry hero who's unkillable against ganking lineups and just hitting creeps. I feel like you might be underestimating this. Like, I wouldn't be 4-manning this tier 2 tower with these kills. I would be... Like, I want you to think about how much you accomplished while they're dead here. You know? Do you see this?
Yeah, the Spectre was down there farming.
Yeah, so it's like, when your team was fighting in the game where you were losing, I think you could have farmed, and it would have been better. In this game, when you're winning, and you got a kill, I think you could have just farmed, and it would have been better. So I think you might actually be prioritizing farming too low, actually, at this stage of the game, because we've seen it on 2 different heroes in 2 very different scenarios. Like, the way I view DK, and when I play against DKs, I hardly ever see them, dude. Like, they just show up randomly with fucking Mask of Madness, Armlet, Blink, BKB, Daedalus, and they just kill everybody. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I died. Like, that's what I generally will see with DKs. When they're carry, and like they'll show up to fights that are like on their side of the map kind of thing, or they'll participate in like a quick smoke gank, but they're never like sieging. Do you know what I mean? They're not like spending they're not spending time doing that instead of farming. So it feels like whenever they're fighting, it's like very efficient. It's like during their dragon form at the tail end or something, they show up to a fight. But I would want you to think that when you're DK specifically, when you ult, you want to consume as many creeps as possible. And if there's like heroes that are somewhat in your way, you just fucking kill them. You know what I mean? Like that's how I look at this hero.
I think I was only using his ult for fights and objectives.
Yeah. So this one could largely be unfamiliarity with DK. I do think DK is one of the strongest carries right now. I think when it comes to your mid-game decision making, the idea of thinking how many creeps can I kill in the amount of time that I'm spending doing other things, I think I want you to really clearly conceptualize how many creeps you can kill in a certain amount of time, because it's the same idea with Lifestealer. You know, you need 600 gold for a relic, and you're going to a fight rather than clearing what is available to you, which is a free creep wave and 2 free creep camps in a game that's really rough. And so for me, it's like if I'm in a really rough game and I have access to creeps, like that's exciting for me. I'm like, oh, like I actually can hit something. And it's like when I'm in this game and I have control of the map, what I think of when I think of control of the map is, oh, I can hit so many creeps. And that doesn't mean that I want you like back here playing for these camps, right? It means that I want you to be doing this as aggressively as you can while clearing creeps. So even though this may seem like a passive TP, what it is it's defending a tower, taking an area that nobody else on your team can really single-handedly occupy because you're against like Earthshaker Spectre, right? It's like a lot of gank threat. So like it's really powerful to just TP here, clear this wave, clear this camp, wave. You're going to like finish your dragon form in that time. Then you're going to like farm this. Then your dragon form is going to be up again. And then you go back this way and you're like running at them again. You see what I mean? How I kind of map this out for your Aegis?
Yeah.
That's how I would want this to be played out, is just maximizing the farm. So, I do think your mid game's a little bit too fight centric. I'd rather have that problem than being a bit too farm heavy, because I've also seen that so in your laning stage, like in the post laning stage, like 8 to 15, it seems like you like to play this efficient area, like if you're Dire safe lane or if you're Radiant safe lane. I actually think this fluidity thing is the same problem, and like meaning the lane fluidity is the same problem now as it is earlier. That there's a lot of times where you'll win a fight, you'll get a kill, and you just stay on the part of the map that you're on, and I want you to go somewhere else. Whether it's 10 minutes into the game, 18 minutes in the game, 22 minutes in the game. I don't think you're often considering other places to just consume farm. That is relevant. When you're winning in that anti-mage game, this tower dying to CK is what I think your biggest problem is. When you're winning like this, and you have Aegis, and you had Dragon Form, and nobody's farming this, and your tower's dying, that's what I have a problem with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to apply like active farming too much to the point where I go to dry parts of the map just to be around my team. And it's obviously gonna be game based, situation based. Like, yeah, with Aegis, I definitely feel like I need to go die and win a fight.
Yeah, I think it sounds like I've had a lot of people come in with Aegis and they just say, I want to use the Aegis. For me, I think if you can farm freely and aggressively, that's like insanely good use of the Aegis. Especially against lineups with like long cooldown ults like Echo and shit. You know? They don't want to 4-man smoke gank you down here. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, if they have
Yeah,
if they have heroes that kill you once and kill you again with the same, like, because they have low cooldown, then it's a bit different. But yeah, I think I've had a lot of people come. I've had a lot of people come in and say they want to use the Aegis, and I think freely farming the map with Aegis is a great use of the first Aegis, generally speaking. I think the first Aegis between like 18 to 30 minutes is all about how much farm space each team has, and the Aegis is usually a huge swing on that.
because they don't want to commit on somebody that.
Yeah, it just gives you the ability to split up more than you really should be on paper. And by splitting up more, that then sets up the lanes better, which then sets up a beneficial fight where what happens is the team that has Aegis will spend the first 3 or 4 minutes of the Aegis accruing this like map control advantage because they're consuming more of the map. And then towards the minute or two tail end of the Aegis, you're going to get like crucial objectives because you have the map slowly collapsing on the opponent, and then you kill them once, and then you get objectives very freely. That's kind of how I would script the first Aegis in most games.
How much time do we have left?
That is about it. But if you have
Okay.
any final questions, you're welcome to ask them.
I can see the point, and yeah, maybe the Dragon Knight game, since I didn't even know you're supposed to farm with the alt. Like that's probably really huge. Would
Yeah,
be
the
a
ult's
big difference.
basically a battle fury. Yeah.
I think I only do it maybe with like the first alt when I play him to farm ancients, but
Yeah, people will spam that shit off cooldown.
that's really good to know.
Yeah, and think of it as
Well,
farming backwards when you don't have your ult. So like, you use your ult to like consume a lot of farm towards the tail end of it. You're usually pushing up onto their side of the map because you've consumed a lot of farm. You can be aggressive, you're strong. And then right towards the end of your ult, you're going to end it like somewhere up here aggressively generally, and then you'll retreat when you're in human form. That's usually how it goes.
okay, yeah, I think I'm just at a adaptability stage right now where okay, this video told me this, and I should
Mm,
prioritize this, and is like old me is going to TP bottom right now and go farm.
I see.
So I'm like actively trying something new in the past week or so,
I see.
and it's still foreign for sure.
That makes sense. I can see that. Yeah, I'm not quite frankly, I'm not sure how much I helped today, so I hope there's some meaningful takeaways. The stuff I wrote down, I do think um I think you
Yeah,
probably used
definitely
to
itemization.
I think the farm thing compared to fighting that you're telling me now, it sounds like you used to maybe farm too much and now you've maybe overcorrected it a bit. And I hope the question of how much farm do you have access to versus how strong you are, and then also like how much farm on the map can you consume per minute, I think is generally a good gauge to know how much you even need to fight them in the first place. Um, so that maybe it can help you find a good middle ground because it seems like you went from maybe one extreme a little bit to the other. Um, as
Right,
you're,
and
God,
I'm gonna I'm gonna hit a hard plateau soon if I'm ranking up this fast. So
yeah,
definitely stomping 3K though feels pretty good
yeah,
most of the
no,
time.
I mean I can see why you are. It looks like you have a lot of fundamentals that are good. Um, I think that the overall efficiency and game understanding is high. It's based on the mistakes you're making. It's sometimes a lack of consistency, perhaps that is based on
I
how many
think
games you're
playing too
playing.
much
Yeah,
is
I was gonna
yeah.
say how many games you're playing, and also trying to learn new things. So I think these are good problems to have. Um, and I would just say that if you're consistently playing, and you want check-ins with me, I'm not trying to just market sales pitch you here, but we do classes twice a week where people can just submit like a 5 or 10 minute replay that we go over. Um, so if you'd like a little check-in version, that's not a full-on coaching session. You can effectively get 6 classes like that a month for $25, where it's effectively 6 little check-ins if you would like to utilize that. Um,
Okay.
as
Yeah, just
opposed to like a
link me that and I'll check it out.
yeah, I'll send you the link. I think it might be better for you if you wish to continue. No pressure there. I don't think you need like a massive like from my personal opinion, you don't need more like long coaching sessions. I think you might just need little tweaks here and there weekly since you're playing so much. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going off of no basis and kind of
Yeah.
freelancing my Dota experience, I guess. So I wanted
Yeah.
more of some structure, and
I think
I
I'm giving
appreciate all the help.
people a lot of structure in these classes, and I think that if my goal in the classes is to give people like one small thing to work on, in their coming games, like one question they weren't previously asking themselves, like the whole which opponent of your treads are you buying? That's something I'll do in like the 5 to 10 minutes. And I think that those type of things are going to be important for you, just because you seem to apply stuff pretty quickly and you seem to dive into it to go like to try to fix it. Um, and if anything, I think you might try to do too much at once. So,
Yeah, it's a feeling out process, like
yeah,
observe extreme and observe like turning it down and
for
find the
sure.
middle ground.
Yeah, it's tough for sure.
Trial error,
Um,
trial error, trial error.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, with that in mind, any final questions?
No, I think that's it. I didn't even know you had the check-in thing, and
Yeah,
it
we
sounds
also,
pretty.
I just, now that I think about it, we just opened up more slots. So what that means is that we give a free month trial. So if you'd like to try it for free for a month, you can do that too.
Awesome.
So I will send you the link now. Cool, man. Anything else?
No, thank you again.
Yep.
And I'll talk to you at some point, and you know,
Sounds good. I
do
hope
these
we see
little
you around.
champion things.
Have a good one, dude.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Peace.